to this Extreme Warfare Revenge series. My name is Andy, your uncommentator for episode number 32, I think we're on now. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is what's going to be taking place in this video, and that is going to be the same as what always takes place, and that is we're going to be booking the next two shows as we continue the build up to our November pay-per-view. So I'm currently recording this on the 24th of November, so the day after AEW Full Gear. I don't know what happened on that show, so no spoilers if anyone's watching this and hasn't watched that, or doesn't know what happened for whatever reason. Anyway, as you can see there, on the actual game, I'm on the 10th of November, so I'm 2 weeks behind. But in this video, I'll be 1 week behind, because that's how time works. So, as I said, we're going to be continuing the build for our November event, which is taking place on the 23rd of November, Primal Rage, which is the same day as the aforementioned Full Gear. But we're not going to get there if I just keep babbling on without moving on, so that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Now, as we tick over from Sunday to Monday, no doubt we'll have a million emails about companies changing size or what have you. That's what tends to happen. And right on cue there, CZW have become a cult promotion, so no doubt they'll be making a few signings. Raw's been renewed for 30 weeks, not on Netflix. This is a 2019 database, so whatever Raw was on in 2019, whatever channel, I can't remember. Anyway, that'll be what it is. And then, of course, we get the weekly promotion war emails. But looking at this one, oh, that's interesting. So apparently, we have superior star power to Ring of Honor. Well, that's the first time that's happened. I'm not quite sure how that's happened because I haven't signed anybody secretly to do anything with that. I can only assume it's because our women, some of the women in the women's division, have randomly increased overness quite a lot. So Tennille Dashwood in particular, I'm thinking, and Nicole Matthews, and possibly one or two others, Shanna maybe. Don't know if that's what's caused that. But anyway, not that I'm complaining, so that's good. That helps us in our promotion war. Okay, we've signed Tyson Kidd, so I presume that's, I think he's a road agent. They've also signed that person. Jeff Bost, I don't know who these people are. I know who Tyson Kidd is, obviously. Oh, they signed Mickie James to a written contract. Well, that's good. I'm glad about that, actually, because when I released Mickie James, or when I let a contract expire, I wasn't sure about it, but I'm glad she's found a job, because she was awesome. I felt a bit bad actually that she didn't have work. I know it's ridiculous for a fictional wrestling promotion, but yeah, I did feel a little bit bad actually. So I'm glad somebody signed her. Oh, they've also signed Chavo Guerrero, another former PWG alumnus. He was never on a written contract, so in fact he was partially employed by Shimmer and CZW, I think. Anyway, Dash Wilder's gone to Chikara, as has Velveteen Dream. Oh, and that's a coincidence. Full Gear. Also taking place on here, which I suppose I say it's a coincidence. I'm recording this to try and mirror real life, so like run alongside real life, so maybe not that much of a coincidence. And AEW have risen back up to national level. And House of Hardcore Blizzard Brawl. That's a good name for a show. Cool, so lots of interesting stuff there. Yeah, I'm glad about Mickie James. Like I said, I felt bad when I released it because she was awesome. But it means I can't re-sign her for the whatever time it is, third, fourth time. She can't make yet another comeback. And Chavo Guerrero, who was randomly there as, I think it was Andrade's manager randomly, wasn't he? Or something like that. Anyway, he's back there now, so they'll no doubt need to replace him. Okay, Impact now. Impact have seen AEW and thought, we'll have some of that action. And they've signed Cedric Alexander, another former PWG person. Cheerleader Melissa's gone to CZW, as has Gado. It's one extreme to the other. Fred Sampson, is that, I was going to say, is that Darren Young? I know he's Fred Rosser, but I'll have a look. Anyway, Natalia's also gone to CZW, so they seem to be trying to make a women's division. Jim Duggan's gone to CZW. Okay, well, I suppose he can legally use that 2x4 now. So, okay, interesting stuff. Let's just have a quick look, actually, at CZW. So, because I said about putting a women's division together. Now, if you go on other promotions, obviously you can see here the list of promotions. So, if we can click, by clicking View Roster, the very, very obvious, it's obvious what that will do. However, there is another way at viewing the roster. I've just noticed the sponsors there. Oh, there we go, another one. I'm not sure about Newport. I don't know what that is, other than a town in Wales, but yeah, the others seem quite appropriate for the company. But anyway, we'll gloss over that. There's a million and one jokes. We're not going to do any of them. what we are going to do is if we go to other workers, you can see here at the bottom, you get this promotion search option. If I click on it, it goes off the screen, but trust me, it is there. And if I change it to CZW and click go, so you can see there, it just brings up the CZW roster. I kind of prefer looking at it this way, to be honest with you. Because you can see it was on, it's a bit easier to see what people's contracts are and things like that. I mean, you know, it doesn't make that much difference. It tells you what it tells you, but anyway, let's have a look. So, Cheerleader Melissa, as we said, I once did a game as Shimmer, actually, SWA, and I had her, and she was awesome. She was really, really good. So, yeah, hashtag just saying. Chrissy Rivera, so they did already have some women, at least. Yeah, it is Darren Young. I don't know if I said yeah, it is twice there. Edit one of those out. Yeah, Fred Rosser, Darren Young. I was right. For once. There's Gado, of course. They also just signed. And Jim Duggan. Nothing screams CZW like Jim Duggan. Anyway, looking for women. And there's one Lou Fisto. Someone else had on the Shimmer game. So that's 3 women. 4 there with Natalia, who's of course touring with Pride. And we've also got Sonia Deville and Vader Scott. Or Vida Scott. I think it's pronounced Vader. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, so they have got 6 women. So not bad. A small little women's division for a sort of relatively small promotion. I'm glad somebody signed Cedric Alexander as well, although he's pretty good. So it could have done worse than bringing him back to PWG. Anywho, that's not important. What is important is we're now on the 14th of November. So it's show day. Of course, if it was the 14th of February, love would be in the air, but it's not. It's November, which means rain's in the air if you live in England like I do. Anyway, let's not worry about the weather. Let's instead do some booking. I'm going to kick things off with an angle, which might not make a lot of sense. I've just realised something actually. I've not done a recap. I normally check the last show and do a recap of the last thing we did, but I haven't on this occasion. But I will, if you haven't watched the series, first of all, what are you doing with your life? But second of all, I will remind people of where we're up to with certain storylines, etc. as we're going along. So we're going to kick things off with Chris Sabin. Chris saving. Keith Lee from Killian Dane and Alexander Wolf. So, of course, Keith Lee was scheduled to defend the world title against Drew Gulak. Drew Gulak was found unconscious. Keith Lee thinks it was Congo Kong that attacked him because he wants to get a rematch for his title. Congo Kong's denying it. So he's set, because he's not happy about being accused, he's set his kind of goons onto him. So Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane, the Totem Towers, attacking Keith Lee. And Chris Sabin's going to interfere in that and save Keith Lee. That's despite the fact that Chris Sabin, broke off his team with Octagon because he didn't want to be in a tag team full time. So it kind of makes no sense, but it all will become clear. So let's just put it that way. In my mind, I can get away with it. Anywho, one thing that does make a little bit more sense is this opening contest. This was a match that, again, was booked in the last video. And it is a match between El Cuatrero and Sanson, of course, NGD. And they're going to take on, for the 4th time now, I think it is Go Time, Kushida and Go Shiozaki. Now, of course, the storyline here is, if you haven't watched the last video, just a reminder, because Go Time keep losing to NGD, if they lose this match again, they've said they're going to split up. So let's see if that happens. And guess what? It is going to happen. So El Cuatrero is going to pin Kushida. I'm not actually sure if this is the right thing to do, but we're doing it. And they're going to do it by cheating. So what I envisage happening here is, I used to quite like it when I used to remember. I feel like it was JR that did this a lot. Whenever a heel pinned a babyface and it was like unfair, like somebody had interfered or they cheated or whatever, and they just like draped an arm across the babyface, JR always scream like, "No, not this way, not this way," and that's what I imagine happening here. So the crowd screaming "not this way" to because they don't want Go Time to split up. But anyway, they are going to split up, and I say that may have not been the best decision because I feel like, well, I don't feel like, this is the truth. I've got about 10 tag teams, and I'm sure like 7 of them are heels or something like that. Nearly all my tag teams are heels, and the champions are heels. So it's a little bit lopsided, should we say. But anyway, we're doing it. We are splitting them up. And now we're going to move on to an angle. We can't have too many matches on this wrestling show. We need to focus on the talking and the stories. And it's going to be Super Dragon and Excalibur coming on this year-long feud that's been going on. So what would happen here is they're basically going to argue about the signing of Pac. So, of course, there was a hype video for Pac signing. Excalibur signed Pac. And Super Dragon, because he's proverbially in bed with Real One and open brackets, Enzo Mori closed brackets. And obviously, if you're a nerd like me, you know about the history between Pac and Real One. And then they just basically argue about that. Super Dragon, like, you know, his prized pupil, so to speak, having one of his enemies signed. He's not happy about it. So that just keeps that little rivalry going. And speaking of keeping a rivalry going, I don't think we can use Io Shirai. I don't think she's available for this show or the next show, possibly the one after that as well. She's available for the pay-per-view, where she's going to be defending her title against Shanna. But because she's not available at the moment, because she's touring with New Japan on here, we're going to have to carry on the build without her. So Shanna can just do an interview saying how she's going to get her belt back. And then, because why not? Let's have another angle. I don't know. Just checking my booking notes here. Yeah, I don't know why I've got 5 segments so far, and 4 of them are not matches. But hey ho, that's what we're going with. Maybe I should have split these out a bit more. But anyway, it doesn't matter, because it's going to be, where is it? There we go. Held apart from Brawl. So Eli Drake and Brian Cage, their match coming up at Primal Rage. Brian Cage at Primal Rage. That rhymes, which is fun. Anyway, yeah, so what would happen here in this segment, they try and fight backstage. All the goons and the geeks are running, and you know the security and try and help them apart. Ric Flair could be one of them. Ric Flair's one of our road agents, so he could run on and get a few woos. Anyway, they get held apart, and then Excalibur would run in and say, if you two strike each other before the pay-per-view, your match is off. So just to add a little wrinkle to this rivalry, which is been going on a while now. I feel like it's kind of limping along. I feel like, so hopefully that'll add a bit more intrigue to it. Anyway, we might as well book a match. It is a wrestling show after all, so I suppose we're going to have some in-ring action, and it's going to come in the form of a 6-person tag. It's going to be Orange Cassidy teaming with Crime Time, and he's going to take on, I don't know why I booked this, but we're going with it, Mark Haskins, who I think Wardlow was seen more recently than Mark Haskins. I can't remember the last time I used him, but anyway, it's going to be Mark Haskins teaming with the tag team champions, who are of course the Mighty. And for some reason, I don't quite know why I've got this book, but I've got the Mighty winning. So we'll have Shane pinning Shad, because they both start with Sh. So why not? I don't quite know why I've got this, but we'll just give them a clean win. They can just, I don't know, a quick roll up or something after a big brawl. I don't know. There must be a reason why I booked it. I'm not quite sure what it is. I know why I'm booking this next segment though, and guess what? We're back to the angles, because I love an angle. Especially Kurt. Joking aside, he did actually my favourite wrestler, so that's not just a bad joke. There is actually some truth in it. Anyway, this segment will make a bit more sense, because Nicole Matthews is going to talk to Barbie Hayden. So in the last show, Nicole Matthews was taking on Tenille Dashwood. Tenille Dashwood won because Mia Yim interfered, but then Barbie Hayden ran out and saved her. So we've got 2 singles feuds there, kind of, you know, crossing over. Feud fusion, I suppose you want to call it that. The Nicole Matthews and Mia Yim, and the Barbie Hayden and Tenille Dashwood storylines all kind of rolling into one. Yeah, I really should have spread those angles out earlier, but oh well. I kind of wanted a big gap. I think I wanted a big gap between the end of Go Time and the rest of the matches. I think that's possibly was my thinking. Unless either that or I just wasn't paying attention. More likely the latter, to be fair. But anyway, it's going to be Tribe Vanguard, not Vanguard, And speaking of people who've been seen more recently than Wardlow, they're going to be taking on the Sky Riders, who I feel like I've not booked for a while. So Triton and Trey Miguel. So Tribe Vanguard versus the Sky Riders. And of course, Tribe Vanguard win. And we'll make it clean. And there's no real purpose for that other than to show that the Tribe Vanguard are badasses, I think. don't know what word I was trying to think of there, but I couldn't think of it. Anyway, like 3 segments to go. So we'll go with a video angle. I've just punched the microphone, which hopefully is the last time that happens. Well, I say it's a hype video. It's more going to be. So what would happen here is basically it'd be a bit like MJF's kind of. Sometimes when he does promos from. You know, like when he does promos on a video rather than actually live because he's too scared or too lazy to turn up. So that was essentially what would happen here. You know, Real wanted. Kind of playing off the fact that he's worried about Pac turning up. He'd, talk about, basically pretending he's not scared and then criticise Mick Foley, saying, well, I'm not there, but where's Foley, after I whooped his ass on last Saturday, or something like that, I don't know. Something cool, that's why I employ writers. And then finally, the main event. So this next 2 segments, it's kind of 2 segments rolled into one. So we'll just get the booking done, and then I'll put some meat on the bones and explain what's happening. So this match was booked earlier in the night, so we'd have had a graphic flash up to say it was happening maybe. So it's Keith Lee and Chris Sabin taking on the Totem Towers. And the Totem Towers are going to win. We're not going to pin the champ, though, we're not that silly. Because Kongo Kong's going to run in. And then we'll say a 3-on-2 afterwards, because why not? Give the heels... Get some heat. And that's to build to a future match. But of course, we've got the main event segment. But as I said, this would kind of be all one big thing rolled into one. So I'll just finish the booking. And then I'll explain what's going on. If you can't work it out, which I'm sure you probably can. Okay, so we'll finish off with a Dijak interview. Right, so what would happen here is... So the match would be going on. Totem Towers and Chris Sabin and Keith Lee. Then towards the end of the match, a video would appear on the screen, and you could really gimmick this up if you really wanted to. So you could have like Drew Gulak, he'd be tied to a chair, or have some tape over his mouth, or just knocked out, obviously being beat up or whatever. And then the camera would pan up, or you'd hear footsteps off camera, somebody walking in. The camera would pan, and eventually you see it is Dominik Dijakovic. So Dominik Dijakovic is responsible for the attack on Gulak. And then he'll cut some kind of promo on Keith Lee saying, hey, you thought it was Kongo Kong? No, it was me. Blah, 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 blah. I want to be the one to... I want first shot at your title because I want to be the one to end your title reign. So I want first shot, blah, blah, blah. That's why I took him out. And then obviously Keith Lee gets distracted. He gets out the ring. He goes to go and try and find Dijakovic or try and find Gulak. The referee gets out the ring. He tries to usher Keith Lee back into the ring. But while the referee's distracted doing that, Kongo Kong interferes, wipes out Chris Sabin, and Totem Towers end up getting the win. So that's kind of one big segment there. Well, that's what would happen. I think it sounded better in my head. When I said it out loud, it sounded a bit lame. Anyway, that's the show. Not one of my better ones, maybe. Some plot holes potentially, but hopefully the rating will be good. Okay, I'll take that. To be honest with you, I'm also a bit worried about putting Keith Lee in angles because his charisma's not... I mean, it's still 70, but it's not great. And I feel like sometimes if I put him in angles, especially with people that aren't that charismatic either, he could lose owners. But thankfully he hasn't, so we'll take that. Yep, that's fine. Another good match between those two. The last match between those two. So, enjoy it while you can. Yep, that's fine. Yep, that was good. Oh, that was good. We'll take that. I think Brian Cage's charisma's not that bad, actually. Yeah, that was okay. I've noticed with this game, the more wrestlers you have in a match, generally the worse it is. Like, if you ever book a Royal Rumble or an 8-person tag or a Survivor Series style match or whatever, then it never tends to get that good a rating. So a 6-person tag, I think part of the problem with these is, even if you've got a real tag team in these matches, their chemistry rating or whatever it's called doesn't play a part. I'll explain. I'll get to the end and then I'll explain what I mean. But yeah, we'll take that. It's okay, I suppose. Good. That's more than okay. That was the purpose of that segment, to try and get Barbie Hayden over a bit. So that's good. Hopefully try and build up to be a viable challenger. Wow, I wasn't expecting that to be so good. Because the Skyriders, speaking of chemistry, barely have any. But I think Tribe Young chemistry is pretty good. But yeah, that was yeah, pretty good. That was way better than I thought it was going to be. The Skyriders are really good, to be fair. It's a shame they just kind of use them as a jobber team. Cool, yeah, that's fine. No, yeah, we'll take that. Because Dijakovic isn't over or charismatic, I don't think. So that could have been worse. And that overall rating could have been worse. 72%. I'll definitely take that. Because I was not sure that was the best show I've ever written, but certainly came off well. 961 people turned up. I feel like I never get 1,000. Why can't I get 1,000 people? I feel like I never do. I'm not really paying too much attention to these attendances, but I'm nearly certain they're always just under 1,000, which is a bit of a shame. Already, you've only just got here. Cheers, Jerry. That's why we pay you the big bucks. Right, yeah. Just before we move on, just talking about what I was saying with the chemistry. Sorry. So when you go into the tag teams here, obviously, it's called experience. But when you go into the tag teams here, you can see every tag team's got an experience rating. So every time a tag team's in a tag team match, their experience goes up by 1 point until eventually, like the Rock and Roll Express, it gets to 100. Now I think, so like for example with that 6-person tag, even though I put a tag team in the match, their experience doesn't go up. Or didn't go up. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. So the Mighty, for example, they would have been at 70 before that match. I'm nearly certain that's the case. So that's why that can affect that can affect the match quality, because obviously the higher the experience, if you're in a tag, generally the higher the experience, the more likely they are to have a good tag team match. That's part of the reason why I've still got the Powers of Pain, because even though individually their stats are terrible, I mean the Warlord, he's not going to have good stats, is he? Because their experience is 69, which obviously should sponsor CZW, but anyway, yeah, because their experience is what it is, it makes the matches better. Obviously, it's a combination of the experience number and how well they gel as a team. It does take that into account. So basically, on this game, if you put two people in a tag team whose stats are very similar, you'll get that message from old Jerry. He'll tell you that they blend well. So, but yeah, it's a combination of factors. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to blab on about that. I don't quite know why. That was, thought we need to go into so much detail about that. But anyway, we'll move on now to Saturday, the day of our next show, of course, Outrage. Okay. Oh, hello. Quite a few emails here. Katsuyori Shibata's been fired. Staff member Katsuyori Shibata. So, again, I think I said this earlier. This is a 2019 database. So, at that point, Shibata would have been retired, because I think he came out of retirement. I think it was after the pandemic he came out of retirement. So, okay. I wonder what's triggered that. Anyway, let's see. They've also fired John Laurinaitis. Okay. Chris Roach, Kenta Sato, and Kevin Kelly. Not for the first time. He's been fired. I might sign him, actually. Anyway, let's see what else has happened. Christian York's gone to AIW. Fair enough. Tom Lawler's gone to AEW. AEW signed cheerleader Melissa. Did she just get signed by CZW? I could have sworn she had. They also signed MVP. Again, more coincidences, given what's happened in real life. Sexy Star's gone to Rise. Pete Dunne's gone to NJPW. Fair enough. NJPW signed Sonya Deville. That's someone else. I think that's someone else from CZW's women's division. So that's getting gutted. What can you say to that? What can you say to that? Move on. They must sign Austin Aries. Okay. Bo Dallas. Rowan. What? Okay. Aaron Stevens. I always say, if this game were real, when I'm talking about my show, to say, well, if this game were real, this would happen. Can you imagine if this game were real and this was happening? Curtis Axel, why not? Let's reform the Meta Powers, whatever they were called, when Axel was Axel Mania and Damien Sandow was pretending to be Randy Savage. Let's reform that in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm not surprised he's quit. I'm not surprised. I think he was. I think he jumped before he was pushed after some of those decisions. But anyway, all right, okay. So that's an interesting group of emails. So NJPW dropping down from Global, so they can't compete with the Titans at Titan Towers. But maybe because he dropped to National, he thought, I know what I'll do. I'll screw them over and sign these people to a massive written contract. I can't get over that one. I'm gonna have to have a look at that. What is going on there? Yeah, and as I said, CZW's women's division's also lost a few members, so they'll no doubt be replacing them. I'm gonna have to look at this. Let's do it. Let's use this search. Let's use the other search method I mentioned earlier. Where is it? There we go. Right. So I mean, you know, Curtis. They're reuniting the B team. That'll be what it is. That'll be what it is. Not the whatever Sandow and I think it was the Meta Powers. I don't know if they ever called themselves that, but yeah, whatever Sandow and Axel's team was called. There we go. I mean, look at his stats. Apart from his charisma, which is not that good. I mean, what is that about? Wrestle Kingdom main event. James Ellsworth versus... I don't know. Minoru Suzuki. I don't know. Interesting. Anyway. How many women have they actually got? Because they've only signed Sonya Deville. And they've just signed Sonya Deville and someone whose name I've forgotten already. It looks like they're the only two women. So not what you'd call a division, but it's Cheerleader Melissa, wasn't it? Where's she gone? Oh no, that was AEW, wasn't it? That signed Cheerleader Melissa. Yes, I don't quite know who Sonya Deville's going to fight, but obviously hide her for a reason, unless they're going to make her a manager. Anyway, up to them. Don't know what to say to any of that. Anyway, let's book a show. Why not? Let's cleanse the palate with hopefully a good episode of Outrage. Right, so we're going to kick things off with an angle. So if you did watch the last video, you will know that at the start of the last episode of Outrage, Enzo Amore came out and he sort of ran Mick Foley off. He attacked Mick Foley and then took over his place at the commentary desk, and then called the rest of the show. So we're going to do a little bit of a callback for that, and we're going to do a runoff. I can't remember ever using runoff before. Anyway, so what would happen here is the show would open. Real wannabe Enzo Amore in brackets would be sat there with Pat McAfee doing his shtick or whatever, and then, you know, while he's saying about, yeah, I'm still here, Foley's not man enough to show up, blah 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 blah. Again, a video would appear on the screen. You'd see a car pulling up. Foley would get out of it, start walking to the ring. His music would hit, and then, you know, Real One just climbs over the barricade and legs it. And then all the while, McAfee's kind of laying it on thick, like, you know, thank God, good riddance, blah 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 blah. I want to call this show with the hardcore legend himself, and you know what McAfee's like. He can hopefully be better than what I've just been. But yeah, so that's what would happen there. And then Mick Foley had put his headset on, ready to call the opening contest. Hopefully he'd be a bit more, he'd enunciate more than I'm doing. But while he's calling this opening contest between Shanna and Kairi Sane, he'd be back in the hot seat, putting over the fact that Shanna has got a title shot with Io Shirai coming up. So I'm doing that usual booking trope that they do in real life. So I feel like it happens with Gunther all the time. He's got a big match coming up, so his opponent beats Ludwig Kaiser first, ready to as a build-up. So that's kind of what Kairi Sane's role's become in this company, which is a shame. But if anyone's going to match with Io or Asuka, they face Kairi first. However, on this occasion, she is actually going to win, which is possibly a mistake, but we're going with it. So Kairi Sane wins, but she wins because Asuka interferes. I feel like I've not used Asuka for a while. Not in something just specifically for Asuka. Anyway, obviously I booked her in Stunning Succuban segments, but not actually on her own. Anyway, there is a reason for this. And the reason is this match going to mark the return of Deonna Purrazzo. So she is going to come back. So, of course, she was attacked by the stunning Sukeban prior to her match with Hania. She's been off TV since, so she's missed about 4 or 5 shows, I think. And she comes back here. I'm not sure if sacrificing the #1 contender for the women's titles the right thing to do just to make this about Deonna coming back. But we'll go with it. So that's the return of Deonna Purrazzo. Next up, we're going to move into a segment which hopefully makes something I did in the last show make a bit more sense. Challenge for the next big event. So Chris Sabin is going to challenge Kongo Kong. So, of course, Sabin saying he wants to forge his own path. Wants to, become a single star, so he wants to take on the former champion. Should prove his worth, etc., etc. And, of course, Kongo Kong will accept that. Right. I don't know if I should have spread these segments out a bit more. But anyway, we're doing it. It's yet another return here. And it's going to be... have a little bit more edge to it. Because we're going to turn a tag team babyface. Because we need some face tag teams. So if we're not going to sign anybody, let's turn somebody. So we're going to turn the Juicy Product, and they are going to respond to the challenge of BXB Hulk and Yamato. So you may have remembered, if you have watched this entire series, you may remember that I did a promo with Juicy Product where they basically said that they needed to go away and reinvent themselves. And this is where they come back, basically. So they have reinvented themselves, so they come out. So Tribe Yangard will be in the ring, talking about how they're kicking everybody's butt and no one can touch them, blah, 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 how bad they are. And then these two will come out and say, they've reinvented themselves and they're ready to win the tag team titles again. And then normally when I turn people babyface, I'll debut the new gimmick on the turn angle. But that's not going to happen here because I've not changed their gimmick. So mainly because I haven't thought what it's going to be yet. But I thought, like I said, in the segment, they can say, you'll see the new and improved Juicy Product when we come and kick your butt. Something like that. I don't know. Anyway, move on. Move on to this match. It's going to be Bandido versus the Gulak. I'm trying to think of a word beginning with a G that means destroyer. The Gulak. I don't know. Gora? I don't know, but where beginning with a G. Anyway, yeah. So Bandido versus Dominik Dijakovic. And this time Bandido is going to win. But once again, much like in the first match, it's going to be due to interference. So Keith Lee is going to run in. And he's going to show some babyface fire and keep beating up Dijakovic. And there is a reason for this. So this is, again, 2 segments all rolled up nicely into one. Because while that match is happening, what would happen is this. Everyone's favourite authority figure comes out. And he makes a match between Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. The eternal battle carries on. So yeah, so what would happen here is Bandido obviously would win. Keith Lee comes out, beats Dijakovic up, keeps beating him up after the match. And then Super Dragon comes out and says, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but word from my doctor is Gulak isn't going to make it to the pay-per-view, so you need an opponent, Keith Lee. So who better than Canyon? No, who better than Dominik Dijakovic? And yeah, and then Keith Lee kind of looks a bit annoyed about that. And then Dijakovic could do that thing that heels do sometimes when they're kind of beat up and laid out on the mat, but the camera can see him like laughing and smiling because he's got his own way, basically. So Keith Lee versus Dijakovic is now booked for the title. So Gulak is out of the pay-per-view. So if you bought a pay-per-view because you want to see Drew Gulak versus Keith Lee, apologies. Right, then we're going to move on from that to an angle, again playing off something that happened in the last show. And it's going to be another angle between Eli Drake and Brian Cage. So now we booked that where I said if they touch each other, the match is off. So what would happen here is they just start insulting each other, kind of getting in each other's faces and almost nose to nose, but not quite touching. Trying to sort of go at each other, which doesn't make much sense because if they both want to have a match and they know that if they punch each other, the match isn't going to happen, then they intentionally wouldn't hit each other, surely. Like, why would you try and goad somebody into hitting you when you want to have a match with them? But it's a trope that you're not supposed to think about, obviously. It's a trope that promotions have used all the time, but yeah, it kind of doesn't make sense. Anyway, speaking of not making sense, it's now time for Crime Time, not Go Time, to take on NGD. And I'm not quite sure why I booked this match. I think I'm just trying to add some danger to the tag division. So hopefully make it look like... I feel like I've neglected the tag division a little bit recently. So mainly because I've had quite a few recently where I've had quite a few sort of segments and shows recently where I've been booking people that are only here temporarily. So a bit like people like Scott Hall and that. And now I think the tag division suffered because of it. But anyway, this kind of, I don't mind booking this, but we're going with it. So we're gonna have JTG beating Sanson, but it's gonna be by disqualification. This kind of doesn't make sense because obviously, Crying Time have just been pinned by the tag champs, and NGD are on a bit of a roll. But I'm having them lose him. I think what I'd do is, and I'll go on a brawl to the back. Why not? So what happened here is NGD. They get frustrated, basically. They can't put Crime Time away, so they just grab the ring bell or a chair or something and thwack them with it. And then, yeah, that's it. Then they're gone. So, yeah, then they just have a fight to the back. So again, just trying to... I mean, I put purpose none, but we're just trying to sort of remind people that we do have a tag division. That's kind of the point of that. I think that's the point. Anyway, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, 3 segments to go, which I all do have a point. So we're going to remind people that Pac is due to debut soon. So sticking to the hype video on. And then we'll book yet another match for the pay-per-view. So it's going to be Enzo Mori in brackets taking on Mick Foley. So we, again, after being chased up at the start of the show, he'd come out at the end and, you know, challenge Mick Foley, basically. I'm not, you know, I'm a bona fide G and a certified stud and whatever. And then Foley could cut a promo in the headset. That'd be quite cool. Potentially. Anyway, yeah, so they challenged him to a match and Foley accepts it. Just the main event to go. And I think it's a significant main event, not just because of who's in it, in terms of the people themselves, but I think this is the first show where I've had women in the main event. That sounds wrong when I think back some of the feuds and stuff I've done, especially with Mia Yim. But I don't know. This is a first. I've no idea. Anyway, it's Nicole Matthews. It's the Feud Fusion match and Barbie Hayden teaming up to take on Tenille Dashwood and Mia Yim. So the 2 singles feuds teaming up. And we're going to have Mia Yim pin Barbie because she's not quite there yet. But again, we'll have some cheating because why not? Not many clean finishes in this video. No aftermath. And it's just to keep the feuds going. Although I do feel like they need to come to an end soon. Especially the Tenille Dashwood one. It's been going on for a little while now. Anyway, let's book this show. Let's see how it goes. I'm hoping it's going to be slightly better than the last one. I actually think this is not a bad little show, actually. I wasn't too confident about Warfare, but I think this one looks okay. So hopefully the review will reflect that. Shame about Shannon, but I'm glad Kyrie gained a point. That's useful. Decent match as well. Could have been better, but certainly could have been worse. Yep, that's fine. Yep, fair enough. That's good. Could have been better again, but hey ho. Yep, that's fine. That could have been better. That could have been better. Yep, we'll take that. That's okay. I'm a bit disappointed with this rating, I think, but hey ho. Yep, that definitely could have been better. And of course, the women deliver, as they always do. So despite the fact Barbie Hayden's knocked that over, still getting 74% crowd reaction for that match. So, I mean, that'd be largely due to the other three, but hey-ho. We still hit 70%. So that's good. Right. All that's left to do now is say... Oh, we've got an incident. All that's left to do now is say sayonara, I believe. But before we do that... We've got some... we've got quite a few more emails, actually. I'll go through the emails, we'll check the incident, and then we'll say sayonara. But we'll check the incident first, actually. Kyle Fletcher's been injured. Okay, let's have a look at that then. 7 months with a broken leg. Wow, okay. That's Aussie Open done. For a while. Didn't he get injured, or was it Mark? One of them... Either he's already been injured, or Mark Davis got injured. I can't remember which one it is. But, yeah, that's a shame. No, well, sorry, Kyle. Right, okay, so that's, yeah, that's unfortunate. Right, let's see these emails, and then we'll say goodbye. So, Noam Dar's gone to WoW. Hopefully, take Alicia Fox with him. That'd be pretty cool. Robert Anthony gone to AIW. Hamada's gone to AIW. Well, Ayako Hamada. I think it was just called Hamada in... which was in TNA, could be wrong. AEW have signed El Hijo del Fantasma, so put my teeth back in. El Hijo del Fantasma, that is, of course, Santos Escobar. Samir Singh's gone to Beyond, okay. I wonder if they signed Sunil as well, or just Samir. Kevin Nash has gone to House of... Some very strange signings on this in this video. Kevin Nash to House of Hardcore. Okay, they've also signed Jim Duggan. Who was it CZW that signed Jim Duggan? There's something really weird going on here. They've also signed Lance Storm, okay. Bringing the average age of the roster down. Let's focus on the young guys. And Scott Hall. They've signed both outsiders. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. I was thinking of doing a... and DJZ. My God, how many more people are they going to sign? Tim Donst has gone to SWA, okay. Sean Waltman. There's a joke in there somewhere, but we're not doing it. Drake Maverick. Zombie. Carlito's gone to CMLL. Kent has gone to CMLL. Fair enough. Again, put my teeth in. DJZ's gone to CMLL. Despite the fact that... Has he just been signed by somebody? Am I going mad? There we go. House of Hardcore, yeah. Impact have signed Ultra Mantis Black, Garza Jr., which is Angel Garza, I think. He used to work for he used to work for Impact, I think. I'm pretty sure he did. Tom Lawler to CZW, that could fit, I guess. Scott Hall, okay, he's been and gone already. And have we still not got 1,000 people? 962. So we're still not quite there. I was thinking of doing actually another Outsiders reunion, but that's why I kept them on the shortlist there, Hall and Nash. But they've gone now, so fair enough. That puts the kibosh on that. I was thinking of bringing them back for a, but anyway, we're not going to now. So doesn't matter. It is what it is. Well, that was a bizarre. What a bizarre video that was. Certainly the signings there at the end, totally random. Yeah, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Jim Duggan all going to House of Hardcore. You tell me, I don't know. Anyway, that is the end of the video, and yeah, that's it. So if you enjoyed this video, then please like and share the video. You can also leave a comment on the video should you choose to do that. While you're here on YouTube, if you head on over to the channel, the commentator, you'll find the rest of the videos in this playlist. You'll see how we've got to this point. You'll also find a myriad of other games that I've played through. If you like wrestling, then I've done a video series for WWE Crush Hour, so please go and check that out. If you don't like wrestling, then I'm not quite sure why you're watching this video, but if that is the case for whatever reason, then there's plenty of other content on the channel that's not wrestling related. I've got quite a lot of Pokemon videos, I've got some Star Fox videos, I've got a little game called Game Ground, I've got some Streets of Rage videos, Crash Bash, all going on over on the channel. But join me next time. We're going to be moving on. It's going to be the video with our pay-per-view on. So we're going to do one more episode of Warfare. And then it's time for the Primal Rage pay-per-view. But until we get to that point, for now, from me, it is sayonara.